Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen to round 6 of the Trackstars TS2 Championship. We are live from the what they call Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, all the way in the US. Here for 15 laps on this bright sunny Sunday night, so the drivers don't have to worry about any tyre changes on wets or anything like that. They're just going to run from the lights to the flag, and joined by me, we haven't probably heard us for a while, is Nick Patasso in the combox alongside me. Welcome, my friend. It's been a while.
Yeah, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It has been a very long time since we've actually been in the combox together. It's probably about, I don't know, maybe 2-3 rounds ago. I think it was before you could say our mid-season winter break that we had in the Trackstars Racing Series over the last couple of weeks. So it's been a while, but it's great to get the band back together. It's great to have you on board, providing us with the stream. Thanks to my capabilities of streaming from a PS4, as we've done the job wonderfully last time out. So obviously got a lot of good feedback, got a lot of good comments coming through over the last week at Watkins Glen. But Watkins Glen has produced some great racing last time out, and we are here for the second running here in America. We are in Georgia, just like what Ryan said, but we are in Road Atlanta, which is also now called as Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, when Michelin bought the track and the naming rights in 2018, and we are getting ourselves underway for TS2 qualifying. So far we're getting the lap times flying in, so we're not really going to be able to see some storming lap times yet, as we saw in practice and pre-qualifying, but it is early days. But also for you as well, Ryan, there are a few names that you haven't actually seen before. So you can see on screen here is Stormfly, also known as Loxy for Black Flag Racing, and also his teammate in Slipstream, who was the round winner in Waters Car 222, and obviously he managed to gain his main series eligibility at Watkins Glen. So TS2 definitely providing the goods and really bringing in some top caliber drivers that are main series eligible and main series caliber drivers.
Yeah, it was. I did obviously see the results, and I'm just like, who are these people? But no, it's good. Yeah, it's good to see as well. But not only that, they are from overseas too. So we have some more international drivers joining us on the grid. But yeah, good thing for Waters here to get the eligibility. And in regards to the lap times, I did see a 1:09 in practice before we went live for qualifying. So the times may come down, but at the moment we've got Curry on top with a 1:11.2, but Slipstream is about to absolutely rip that to shreds in a 1:10.9. So I'm definitely liking the difference on the grid, but as well, you know, as you said, the new different teams too. So Black Flag Racing. So yeah, it's good, and we also have Mario here for FR Racing. So he's a winner from Split 2, so he's come through automatically. So that was a big up for him.
Goodness me, I'm just looking at Curry's. Car. His car was going all over the shop. Almost looked like he was going to pile drive DP Mario into the abyss, going into that last right-hander. But it's good to see. But it's good to see some really top caliber drivers. Obviously, the man that's leading the championship is Les Samwith from FR Bono Racing. So actually, while you were away, the newest signing for FR Racing, I was formerly known as Bono Racing, but it's actually now reverted back to FR Racing. Samwith taking his former It's Racing Esports Honda to the FR camp and putting it in very bright and spectacular colours. The design of that car looks really good, and the performance that Samwith is bringing to that team has propelled him up into the championship lead, taking that lead away from Crestdale in Lexus Ultipac Mashbards Racing. But so far, Crestdale's got the upper hand on Samwith with only about 4.5 minutes to go. It is Waters leading the way ahead of Curry and ahead of Loxy. But it's great to see I feel like this is the first time I'm actually going to be seeing, since round 1 here, Ryan, that we're actually seeing ourselves some really top drivers in the field here. We have Waters, we have Loxy, we have Jahan, we have Mario, who's really considered to be a great driver, Green, and we also got the return of Holton in Captain Muffin. So I have a feel. So I definitely feel like this is the same caliber of drivers that we had in round 1, and we're in round 6. So I'm really predicting it's going to be a really spicy and a really great race that we're going to be seeing here tonight.
Yeah, the caliber of drivers coming through. I'm a little bit worried, to be honest. I don't know what's going on here. I think he's just letting Mackenzie go a little bit in front of him. But yeah, the caliber of drivers. And the other thing is, we've got 5 internationals in the top 6. Mario does have an Australian flag, but as far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure he's American. So realistically, we have 5 internationals in the top 6. So the Australians are starting to get a bit outnumbered here.
Absolutely. So the sole representative for Australia is Mitch Curry, who's currently in P2. So that's a very strong qualifying lap there for Mitch Curry for Robbo Sport Racing, sponsored by Hardcore. And it's really good to see. So as I said, just really good to see some really top caliber drivers here. Obviously, we haven't seen drivers for a while. We haven't seen. We haven't seen Holton for a little while, but he's now just propelled himself up into P4 as the CP driver in car 98. So he's done a very good job there. HBR, who's running 3rd in the championship in Lamb, is actually the highest placed driver so far in that top 5 in that championship, well ahead of Crestdale, Sam with Aussie Taylor, and the 5th place driver in Chris Burke. So obviously all the names that are coming through that are outside of that top 10, outside of the top 5 rather, are really putting on a strong performances, and I'm really excited for the race. But it's just been demoted down to P7 is Lamb, but still the privateer man, and obviously the man that could be in high demand as we get into Enduro season in a few weeks' time, less than a month's time rather. That we could see Lamb potentially aligning himself with a couple of drives or a couple of name picks when it comes to the Enduro season for the High Speed Ring 500, Bathurst 1000, and the St. Croix 1500.
Yeah, definitely. I'm also keen to see if any of these new drivers are coming in. You know, we got Hall down here in 13th. Probably not where we would really see him, obviously from in the US. Looking at this now, I think the Aussies are outnumbered by internationals. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, it's nearly outnumbered internationals to Australians, but this is really showing the caliber from the overseas drivers. But it's not only that, we're currently sitting at 38 drivers that have participated in TS2 this year. So this is
that's
jeez.
not how you take turn 1. Wow. That was tough. That would have been scary in real life.
I would be scared in real life anytime I got that. You know, you try and run that left rear on that little bit of a escape road there to try and open up turn 1 a little bit, and you get it wrong, and that's what can happen to you. But yeah, and obviously getting back onto your subject before with Sandwich taking the lead in that Honda. He's not in the lead by much. He's only in the lead by 14 points over Crestdale. But then we've got a 5 for 3rd as well between Lamb and Taylor. So Taylor's down here in 14. So hopefully we can see him elevate that WTC Racing Lexus up a little bit with what would be his last final lap with 10 seconds to go. So yeah, it's definitely on here at the moment. And even, 8th, 9th, 10th, all of these drivers are currently very close in points going into round 6 here at Road Atlanta.
Well, Aussie Taylor really had a strong performance at Watkins Glen last time out. I mean, he got himself 2 top 5s in that race there. So that was like really big, crucial points for the man in WTC Racing. So still holding on to 4th in the championship. Like I said, there is a strong battle for those top 2, for the top place in TS2, and then also for 3rd place overall. But all the drivers do need to remember that we will be considering the drop rounds in round 13, I believe, or round 12. I think is the last time we do drop rounds or apply the drop rounds.
Yeah, that's correct. So round 12 will be the last round with drops. We'll then apply 2 drop rounds, obviously the ones where they haven't been disqualified for, and then obviously round 13 is all to play for. So really, you kind of can't rule anybody out coming into
absolutely not.
Coming into round 13. So anything's possible.
Absolutely.
But,
Well, we've seen Curry as well. He's missed a few rounds, so he could definitely propel himself up towards the end of the season. But he's done a very good job there. So well ahead of his current rivals in Green and Holton from the CP garage. So the CP boys in 5th and 6th place, really struggling to get these cars hooked around the track. But it's only by a very small margin there, 4.43 of a second, covering the top 6. So that is very close lap times there. So I think within the whole field, we're about out just inside the top 10. Top 12 actually, less than a second.
Yeah,
so very good.
13 is 1.022. So yeah, 1 second separating the top 13. So yeah, that's massive.
Yeah, so very strong qualifying there, and the pole man is Waters in car 222. So yet again, the man that is on fine form last time out of Watkins Glen, taking out the round victory, backing it up with his first race victory in race 2 at Watkins Glen at round 5. Can he back it up and go for the double here in America? We'll find out very soon, with Waters on pole, Curry 2nd, and Loxley 3rd. So 2 of the Black Flag Racing boys inside that top 3. So obviously Waters is going to provide that slipstream for Loxley to try and see if he can get a bit of a tow and get into turn 1 into 1 and 2. We'll find out very shortly. Rose is the fastest Lexus in 4th place, and then as we said, the CP boys 5th and 6th, and Lamb ahead of his rival. So the lead driver inside that top 5 in 7th place. DP Mario 8th, Sandwich 9th, and Crestdale inside the top 10.
Yeah, probably not where we would want to see Crestdale there, being top 10, sitting P2. But in saying that, he's got Sandwich, his championship rival, championship leader, in front of him in 9th. So yeah, that's pretty massive there. But maybe these drivers are having a bit of a rude shock. Just be like, who are these drivers starting to come through?
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, last time out, we just saw on the picture there, Burke had a really strong and a top performance at Watkins Glen in the first race. Unfortunately, just slipped out of his grasp and went from 2nd to 10th place in that second race. So really struggling in that second race, but hopefully he'll try to back himself out. He's sitting in 11th, but he's got a lot of work to do to come up through. So the new boys are here to play. It is Black Flag Racing 1 and 3. So can they go for the double and get themselves a 1-2 here at the start of this first race, round 6 of the TS2 Touring Cars? We'll find out in a few seconds' time.
Yeah, it's getting a bit spicy there. But as always, if the audio levels do need to be a bit adjusted, please let me know and I'll fix it on the fly. But yeah, we're about to go live for race 1 here at Atlanta, and I'll let you take the reins of this one, man, because I do miss your voice saying the race start.
Oh, that's just some fine compliments there from my co-commentator in Ryan Palmer and myself, Nick Patasso, here bringing you race 1 of round 6 of the Trackstars TS2 Touring Cars. The Reds rise here at Road Atlanta, 5 red lights, and we are green flag racing. So a very poor start there by Waters, and here comes Curry's around the outside. He's going to get the lead going into turn 1. Will he get a car's width ahead, a car's length ahead of Waters? He does, so he moves up into P1. Drivers going wide into turn 1. We knew that this was going to be a thing. The worst of the offenders there was Holton, and we can see there in the background Matt Hall goes for a spin before going into turn 2. As we cut back to car 4's replay for FR Racing. What happened here? I believe it was just a bit of a cluster. Oh, I think Breeder just had nowhere to go there. I think the whole pack just clustered themselves up going into turn 2, and unfortunately for Breeder's case, he had nowhere to go there. So a little bit of advantage there, but it is Mitch Curry for Robbo Sport Racing, the Australian, leading the way of the Black Flag driver. So a poor start by Waters in 2nd place, demoted to P2. Loxley still holds on to P3. Jahan into P4, and I think the worst place driver, I believe, is Holton. He's not even inside the top 10.
He's 9th.
Oh,
so yeah,
9th place.
Oh, making a move here on Mario. Very nice move there. That's very good job there. But yeah, it looks like he ran really wide into turn 1. Oh, Crestdale.
Back there. That's Crestdale.
Oh.
That was Crestdale. He just ran wide on he's on 10A, 10B. As he gets through to the section. I think he just applied too much throttle there. The car 23, the 2nd place man in the championship, just caught the end of that curving there. Maybe it's a little bit slippery. There was a little bit of mist in the early mornings here at Road Atlanta, and more red and more yellow flags are coming through. And that's Sandwith. Sandwith is gone. He's in turn 1, your championship leader. As we look back, as we go well back, that's okay. we'll be able to see where he goes through. I just want to see what happened there. So
he won't get it. I did miss it, but by the looks of it, he's either run wide. I will have to go back on that one, but yeah, he's either run wide or he's been kind of shunted out there. But that's probably not where we want to see him. But in saying that, Crestdale's only what would be 5 seconds up the road, so Road Atlanta coming out to play here. But Mitch Curry's taken that first place and said, "Thank you, boys. See you later. I'm gone."
Oh, absolutely, and he's actually pulling a gap over Waters there, so he's really stretching the gap up. Obviously, Road Atlanta's probably could be a favourite for Mitch Curry in car 43 there, but yeah, just going back to that championship, going to those championship implications there, we can see now Crestdale just going on the defensive rather. So Hall was looking for an inside move there, but Crestdale went defensive there. But that's the top two in this championship. Oh, as he just gets on the grass there, just teetering on the edge of track limits there for Crestdale. But that is the top two in this championship, all down in 13th and 15th place. While you see drivers, I believe from what I saw, was Chris Burke from Robo Sport Racing. We see yellow flags ahead. Oh, that is Jahan as well. So Jahan has had a bad last couple of laps as well there. So fighting for P4. He just ran wide there. We just catch the end of that there. Just caught on the grass there.
Run wide, caught on the grass. Wow, done that all by himself.
And absolutely nowhere to go for Jahan. Just slots back in behind Sandwith and the Honda driver there, but Jahan really struggling there. He was fighting for P4, so he was actually right behind Loxie, as I could see there. A couple of cars just really struggling to get 10A, 10B right, but this promotes Green inside the top four, and then we can now finally see Holton's actually worked his way back inside that top five after a horrible start, being pushed a little bit wide on the opening lap at turn one. So Holton back inside the top five. Mario is in 6th place, and as I was just saying there, out of the top 5 in the championship, looking down in 7th place is Chris Burke. This is where we saw Chris Burke's strength at Watkins Glen. It was the top driver out of the top 5 in the championship, and he is now so far on lap 4 of 15 in 7th place, and he's going to be getting some crucial points for his quest to be inside that top 3.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to want to use the most amount of points he can get, especially when he's in that battle there. We've got Lamb down here in 9th, and then obviously Taylor in 10th. So a lot of the guys that are at the top of the table at the moment are starting to struggle. Obviously, we have seen Mitch Curry miss 2 rounds, so he's sitting down in 16th in the championship. He's only 20 points behind Green, so he's going to use this as valuable points, because if fingers crossed, touch wood, he will get 150 points from this one, so it will be pretty valuable in his late charge, because obviously we don't know which rounds he's running. But I do know that he does like Road Atlanta, so he's definitely putting it on show here. He's keeping Taylor at bay here. Waters, sorry. My apologies.
Waters at bay, yeah.
Yeah, he's keeping Waters at bay. Whatever he does gain, Curry does take a fair little bit of the time back. But yeah, position 1, 2, 3, 4, they're not really kind of gaining on each other or closing in. And as I say that, Loxie goes 2/10 fastest through sector 1. So yeah, but it's currently a Nissan Fest onwards of the first 8 cars. So the first Lexus at the moment is Lamb, so in the privateer.
Yeah, absolutely. We did see Jahan there inside the top 4, but after that mistake last lap, that was very unlucky for him. So the Lexus driver probably really struggling just to get on that traction. I feel like that's something that the Lexus really does lack, is on corner exit. It does struggle to find its traction. So the acceleration point does take a little while for this Lexus downforce to kick in and really get that car planted, but it's really where it's on its main strength is down the straight there, as we saw there, just closing the gap a little bit on Breeder, but then you can just see just losing the traction zone through 10A and 10B. So the Lexus does have its weak points around the track. Probably not the favourite car. It wasn't really the favourite car actually around Watkins Glen last time out. So, but here with a lot of corners, fast flowing corners, it looks like it is struggling just a little bit. So we'll have to wait and see what charge and comeback they can go through in race 2. But as you said there, between the top 4, as you said, it's very stagnated between the two. So they're all just chopping and changing, pulling a couple of tenths here, pulling a couple of tenths away from their rival, pulling a couple of tenths in. It's very, very even between those top 5 drivers. And I feel like with a guy in 5th place in Holton, especially, he might try and get back into the back of his teammate towards the end of the race, and maybe that might be the closest challenge that we have. But he has set the fastest lap there with a 1 minute 11.182, so very competitive lap time by Holton. But yeah, we are seeing some really good drives around here tonight. So obviously, if the way stands, if everything stands with here so far, with about 9 laps to go, we could be seeing yet another main series eligibility for Loxy, the Flying Dutchman from Black Flag Racing, in 3rd place, but it's not over yet. But we can see Green is really closing that gap on Loxy, so maybe Loxy hasn't had a few good couple of laps there. So we can see their Green sectors and personal best for Green, rather, no pun intended, but as well for Loxy, just trying to keep that car safe, and just trying to keep it stable, and really just try and hold that 3rd place with that as where he qualified for race 1 there. And also down in 6th place, a very nice showing there, a nice display there by DP Mario. Is coming a little bit under pressure there, and he's just picked up a half-second penalty there, and that half-second penalty, you just run wide on the exit of turn 5, on the exit on the last corner of the S's there. So you just put 4 wheels over that white line and onto that curbing. Yeah, you do pick up that half-second penalty, and here it's going to feel like an eternity. So we'll wait for Burke to come through as he goes to the inside line. Will he get it done before 10A, or will DP Mario be able to fight back? No chance. So Burke up into 6th place. That demotes Mario down to P7. So very unlucky there for the FR driver.
Yeah, that's GT is very harsh on that penalty, because you do end up drifting off 4 wheels onto that curb on the actual racing line itself. So it is a little bit harsh, but you kind of got to go with the flow here. But Mario's all over the back of Burke here. He's definitely putting in a show. Obviously, you know, yourself, myself, we both know Mario. He's a fast driver. I think he just kind of needs to get his head around the GR2. He's very fast in a GR3. Obviously, we saw it in the MotorMotion GT3 Championship in the Porsche there. He did fill in, and he pretty much wiped it away. Yeah. So yeah, he's done very well. And from what I know, what I've heard, he's a very quick driver. So maybe give him a couple of rounds to settle into the car and stuff like that, and he'll be right. And I still can't get over his helmet. That Mario helmet.
Yeah, I did see that.
it got me in the GT3 series, and it gets me every time. But no, it's good. It's good at the moment. You know, we're starting to see a lot of other drivers, you know, new drivers, and the series expanding, because that's really, realistically, what we want at the moment. I think we're probably approaching our biggest year at the moment in TS2 and TS3. So it's definitely looking up for us here as well. You know, we've had 22 compete in TS3, so that's absolutely outstanding. So I'm definitely very happy with here, and you know, all the drivers are having fun. So that's kind of really what we want. And you know, when seeing internationals joining in as well, it really shows that we're starting to get that diversity and stuff like that too. But Curry looks to be under pressure here from Waters. So Curry may have put in a couple of slow laps, and Waters has put in a couple of fast laps, but they don't look too distinguished on pace, or he's made a bit of a mistake.
He must have made, yeah, I was going to say he must have made a mistake.
He's done a 112 on lap 5. So lap 5, he's done a 112. So, and I think
I don't think that would have really accounted to bringing that gap down close. Maybe he's made a mistake on this current lap, as we'll find out very shortly what his lap time is as he comes through 1:11. So yeah, so definitely maybe they're just trading lap times, like you said. That 1:12 that Curry set probably managed to bring that gap down slightly, but you could just see they're really just trying to extend it through turn 1, really just trying to go full sand. Looks like there's a little bit of netcode lag there going on Curry's side, unfortunately. So the gaps, as we see on the leaderboard, is saying one number, but then probably on his end is probably saying a different number. So we're not so it's a little bit tricky just to find out what the actual time delta is between those guys. But there's another battle pack that is brewing here between Loxy and Green. This is for the final step of the podium. So with about 5.5 laps to go, we'll keep an eye on and see what Green can do if he can get that CP 232 onto the podium's positioning. But we are seeing some very I could definitely say we've seen some really strong clean racing here. So there's not really been much incidents so far in the opening lap, probably for the exception of Hall in 13th place. Probably maybe between himself and Rita, whether that is deemed an incident or a racing incident, we'll find out at the end of the night. But I did feel that was a little bit of a congestion going into that turn one. I feel like Fabregas just had nowhere to go, unfortunately. So, but we can see there down in 13th place, and I could just see looking up at the timing screen, looks like Waters has just taken the lead from Curry, so we can cut back to P1 and just find ourselves a replay of what happened here when he took the lead. He actually took it on the final corner of the end of lap 10 there, so a great move there by Waters, and now Rita now takes the lead.
So maybe Curry's done something somewhere. See if I can go back if he has the damage here. He doesn't have damage. Looks like he may run up the back of Loxy. Yeah, he... netcode. Mass netcode, yeah.
That's a definite netcode incident there. That's actually brought Loxy back into the fold here. So Loxy's just going to try and tuck underneath the rear wing of that car 43. Will he go inside? Will he go outside? Curry go defensive. Loxy's going to have to go the long way around the outside. Just breaking it early. Make Curry hold big compromise through 10A, through 10B. Gets a really good switchback. But just loses the back end of that. And that invites Green going into turn 11. It's 12, turn 12. Will they go side by side cleanly? It does. What a move there by Green and for CP Motorsports. Great move there by Green. And that unfortunately demotes Loxy, who was battling for P2, down to 4th place there. We can see there on Curry's end that net stability is really, really compromising his confidence in the car, maybe confidence in himself there, is now coming under pressure from Green, from CP Motorsports. The Star Car Wash sponsored Nissan GTR from CP Motorsports is going to look and try and get a P2 away from Mitch Curry from Robo Sport Racing. And we can see there, Stormfly in Loxy 4th, Muffin in Holton. A little bit quiet in this race here, up into 5th. Gaining back his 5th, I believe.
He's done a 113, so it looks like he's run off or caught damage or something somewhere. So he's done a 12.5 on lap 8 and a 13 flat on lap 10. So those two incidences there, whatever's happened, whether or not he's run off or something like that, or got a penalty, that's maybe what it is. But yeah, that penalty burn zone is in a really bad spot for drivers, especially considering it's on a high-speed straight, so you really lose out quite considerably here. But looking down the pack here, we've got Burke, who's pushed himself up into P6, so I think he's got past Mario.
He got past Mario a few laps ago, so that was a really crucial position with Mario getting a half-second penalty. His teammate in Breeder in 8th place, so we can see 3 RoboSport cars inside the top 8 there, so that's something to be proud of for Craig Harcourt and Richard Robinson, seeing their cars inside the top 8. And then the first of Lexus in Lamb in 9th, Aussie Taylor in 10th, and then we have Mackenzie in 11th place, just ahead of his teammate in Crestdale in 12th, who hasn't really been pushing the car forwards there. So like I said, potentially the Lexus is really struggling around these windy sections here. As you can see, just runs a little bit wide there, opening up the opportunity for the FR Nissan to go around the outside. What will Crestdale do? Will he try and defend it and go hard onto the inside? He doesn't. So Hall just manages to outbrake the Lexus in car 23 and takes 12th place away from him. But this is really been a bit of a stale performance here by Crestdale in 13th, and especially Sandwith after his incident, after his spin on lap 2. So the top 2 in the championship haven't really been putting on the performances and the expected comeback that we would see from these guys. But Crestdale just sends it up on the inside there, runs it a little bit deep there, so Hall goes around the outside, does it nicely there, and we can see Sandwith is going to take that opportunity. Crestdale loses 2, Sandwith gains 1. and so does Hall. So the top two in the championship really struggling to get their cars up towards the pecking order, being stale in 13th and 14th place.
Yeah, that was a really nice crisscross there from Hall, and then Sandwith thought, "Thanks, mate. I'm just going to take this with both my hands and take that position because as long as he's in front of Crestdale, that's really crucial for him in
Yeah.
his title fight." But one thing he needs to also worry about is the fact that Lamb is up here in ninth. So he's only what would be about 56 points behind, but still 56 points in what would be 4th position. That can all come down to essentially 1 or 2 races, so it can be a massive one here. But as we jump back to the front here, we've got Waters that's just done a 10.9.
10.9.
So
That's a very strong lap there by Waters, who's looking to put his car back into victory lane for the 2nd time in a row there. But he's doing a very good job there, is the Polish driver. So he resides himself in Poland. He's a New Zealand-born driver. So we've actually got ourselves to, as we said, if we're seeing a lot of flags and internationals come through, we have a New Zealand driver from Poland leading the way in car 222. And the man that's in Waters is a very strong driver in any car that he drives there. One of the lead drivers from Black Flag Racing has brought the team together into the TS2 field, and especially in TS3, and he's leading the way and he's leading the charge for Black Flag to potentially put themselves into main contention of being one of the lead candidates in the main series in the Trackstars Touring Cars main series. But for the final time, as he comes around turn 11 and then into turn 12 for Black Flag Racing, there's 2 in a row for Waters. Car 222 takes victory for his 2nd race win in TS2. Mitch Curry comes behind in 3rd, and Green, a valiant effort there by Green to get onto the podium. Loxy in 4th. That is another main series eligible driver there in Loxy, the Flying Dutchman from Black Flag Racing. So another one to add to our list here at Trackstars Racing Series. But the highest place in that top 5 in the championship, Chris Burke in 6th place, and that's going to be some really handy points for the RoboSport driver.
yeah, that's definitely going to be some handy points there. But yeah, these drivers are very fast here, as we see in Taylor come through in 10th, Hall in 11th, Mackenzie in 12th, and I think that was Sandwith coming across in 13th. Yeah, so Sandwith across in 13th, Crestdale 14th, and Jahan in 15th. So yeah, that was a pretty intense race start there, but this track looks very GTR prominent. As you can see, there's 8 GTRs in front of the what would be 5 Lexuses. So yeah, it's definitely looks to be a very GTR prominent track. Maybe the very quick left rights isn't really suiting the Lexus. Obviously, you know yourself, the car really likes to be settled as much. So maybe the balance of performance tune that GT's done for the car kind of doesn't really like this track and car combos. So yeah, it's definitely
absolutely.
interesting.
But the interesting is there, if we look back into the results page, you can see this. All the drivers are really relatively close to each other on fastest lap time. So we're seeing a lot of lap times in the 11s. We can see obviously 11.2 set by Curry, 11.3 set by Green, and even if we look down the order towards the back end of the page, we can see some drivers there. You can see there Hall with an 11.9, HBR with an 11.5, Crestdale with an 11.9, Sandwith with an 11.3, and Jahan with an 11.5. The pack is really close. So, and we saw it in qualifying as well. It was the top 12 drivers separated by less than a second here. So the pack is so close. It's very hard to overtake around here, and you could say in a way that if you do want to go for a move, you really have to push the car to its absolute limit and really make sure that it works for you, because if you push the car, you can gain a few tenths, but if you push it too hard, as we've seen a few times, it does bite back, and we've seen a few cars making a few mistakes on the entry and exit of turn 1, and especially up towards the hill in turns 2 and turns 3.
Yeah, certainly. The dirty air as well is kind of really a main thing, but the wind looked like it was a bit of a tailwind slash cross going down that back straight. But yeah, I guess there's not really much else you can do. Kind of try and set yourself up, but yeah, the drivers seem to be managing it at the moment. You know, for me personally, I think GT7 missed the mark on the whole dirty air thing. It definitely affects the cars, probably a lot more than what it would in real life. So, you know, if they fix that maybe a little bit, it would probably allow for a little bit closer racing, you know, sitting on the back of other cars and stuff like that. But no, other than that, the racing's fantastic. And I honestly, I think I'm glad I'm in main series because this TS2 lobby is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely stacked TS2 field here that we have on display for us for round 6 of the TS2 Touring Cars Championship. As we take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen, so make sure you sit back, you join us in a couple of minutes before we get race 2 underway for the final race here for Trackstars TS2 Touring Cars for the Atlanta Sprint. Who will claim the line honours? Will it be Waters going for a clean sweep? Will we see Mitch Curry fight back and get his first victory in the TS2 Touring Cars field? We'll find out soon. Grab yourself a drink, grab some food, and we'll be back with you very shortly.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here. Grid set for race 2. And yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting. I think, depending on who can get a good start. Can Curry get another start? That's the question. Or can we see Halton or Green take an early charge there? But that's the question, but the other thing is a bit of connection issues. Looks like we're having a bit of lag jumping between the internationals and stuff like that. But that is a GT7 thing, and unfortunately, we just kind of got to cop it. But yeah, it's definitely interesting and good to watch. It creates for some pretty good racing. I'm definitely enjoying it. But yeah, as I said earlier, um, it's a very sweaty lobby, and I'm glad I'm in the combox and I'm in main series because I don't think I'd be like to be racing against these guys.
Nah, definitely not. We'll be waiting to see who can come out on top. Will Mitch Curry get the start of dreams that he got in race 1, or will Waters be able to get himself off the line and lead through turn 1 for the first time tonight. But as those lights are about to go out for the final race here in Trackstars TS2, 5 red lights, and we are green flag racing. It is go, go, go. It's much better start there for Waters. Curry's going to try and really get that gear, those gear revs rising. Try and go for an outside move. He's gone for an outside move. A full set by Mitch Curry, and he takes the lead yet again. So we'll take about a fourth for 43, taking an outside move there. He's so brave, and he's got so much confidence in that Nissan GTR, and he's put that car back into first place. Breeder there on the back end of an incident. Looks like he ran wide into turn 1, unfortunately there. So that's unfortunately his own doing, and he just collects. He unfortunately collects Mackenzie's the worst, so unfortunately for him, he drops down the order to P14 after starting out in P11. Mackenzie down to P14, but what a start by Mitch Curry, Ryan.
That was full send around the outside. We know that he made a bit of a mistake in Formula 2, and it looks like he's got that on the head, but we've got Waters under attack here by Green, so the question is, who's got the better brakes? Green around the
move. Oh, bit of contact made between the International and the Australian driver. Looks like Waters is just going to come through, and here comes Holton around the outside of his teammate. Unfortunately, he just pushes him a little bit wide. Doesn't really escort him wide, and there's a little bit of contact made. Does the other yeah, looks like the other black flag racer driver in Loxie makes the move. We can see that Holton trying to go around the outside of his teammate in Green there, and more contact made for Green, and this is a poor start, a horrible start for him at the start of race 2. He makes, obviously he holds it against his teammate there. Maybe his teammate went for a switchback move there. Is there contact between the two drivers? No, he just went too deep into turn 2. So that's his own doing, unfortunately. Takes out Burke in all of that. He drops down to P7. But my goodness, that is challenging for P2, and down in 13th place of Green.
I think he just got swallowed. So when he went through 10B, he tapped the brake a little bit, where you're actually kind of lifting a little bit through there. So he really got swallowed by Loxie and Holton. But yeah, unfortunate there. Running really deep there into turn, what would be 2, 3, 4. So if you get that wrong, you can end up there. I think maybe he probably should have taken the escape road.
Oh, Curry's lost the lead. I've just seen that on the timing screens there. So, we can just see again, Crestdale's just making himself a mess through turn B. 10B yet again. Curry's lost down to P3. So what is going on with car 43 that's had a storming start on sending around the outside on the opening lap, is now down to P3 on lap 3 of 15. So obviously it looks like he's got the initial start and the opening sequence of this race, but as soon as the race goes by, he's just losing ground, and he's dropped himself down to P3. So this puts Black Flag Racing 1 and 2 with Waters leaving over his teammate in Loxie in car 46. Obviously you can see there, obviously you can see he's a huge Valentino Rossi fan, so sporting the 46. Curry running the 43 as a tribute to the late great Ken Block, so running his number in the TS2 touring cars. But Holton right behind is charging through in car 98 there. So this is the much better drive that we're seeing from Holton. Can he go around the outside of car 43? They're both brakes simultaneously. Can he hold it around? Oh, he just gets pinched at 10B there. So Curry, nice defensive driving there by the man in 43. So holds on to P3, Holton down to P4, and Mario's come out of nowhere. He's up into P5, so has avoided all the drama and chaos, putting FR Racing inside the top 5, and this is his first top 5 in the TS2 touring cars for car 11.
Yeah, don't give him a commentator's curse. We don't want that, but yeah, I'm not too sure what happened with Curry. It looks like he may have, had a bit of an engine issue there. Maybe a spark plug failed or something like that. Oh, runs a little bit wide. He may pick up a penalty from that. We'll just keep on him from here. He does. So he's going to drop down to he'll probably go to 4th, maybe 5th, but I think that might be a bit of a stretch. But yeah, that was...
I think it might be 4th because it looks like Murray's a little bit too far back, but I feel like they will be going side by side going through the 10A, 10B. So if I was Curry, I'll definitely put that car on the inside line, and he has done that. So you can see the slipstream that Holton's getting. Is he going to be able to get the move done? It looks like he has. So Holton well clear of Curry, just able to get that car through to to P3, but you can see that the neck code on Curry's side of Carl, so you don't want to be behind or in front of that car, unfortunately, because he looks like he's really struggling with his stability there. So it feels like he's just going to crash into the rear wing of Holton in third place. But then again, as well, he's just really struggling. And yeah, you could just see the car there. Something bad's happening to his connection here tonight there. So Curry just definitely struggling with stability on the net, and unfortunately losing out in the times, and he's dropped down to P4. So battling for what was the lead of the race down to P4 at the end of at the start of lap 5. As we can see there, a few names that have come up through the field. Sandwith, especially in car 15, looking for an inside move on his teammate. And Hall just holds the car around the outside. Doesn't give his teammates much room on the exit there, so he's still holding on to P8 there. So I wonder if these guys know that they're obviously their teammates, but hopefully for Hall's sake, he knows that he's defending. He's trying to fight the championship leader. And I did see there the blinker went on for Hall there just to give Sandwith that position there. So Hall doing the right thing for his teammate and giving him that extra position. So that's some great courteous driving there between the two teammates.
Yeah, that was definitely a setup move there, but if that was me, I'd more than likely do the same thing, especially considering that the person who's fighting for the championship is down here in 14th place. So we did catch it a couple of laps ago where Crestdale had an issue coming through 11. Looks like he potentially got some grass or something like that, but Crestdale's not having the best time here, but he's got Burke not too far behind him. Jahan's moved up into 12th from last. Mackenzie as well. Green has pushed back up into 10th place, more than likely on the hunt for Taylor, but I think the wind may have changed a slight direction here, but Green looks to be a little bit off the pace of what he was in the first race. So he's done a 12.2 in the first race, in lap 3, where he was in the 11s last race. So it's definitely interesting to see on how much those lap times can really vary. But yeah,
especially when you drop down the order, you definitely lose that bit of confidence. You lose a little bit of lap time. Obviously, you're stuck behind drivers that you don't really fight on a weekly basis with. So for him, it's just very struggling just to try and come through the field, really get that car back up towards the pecking order, and try his best to get get himself back inside the top 8. If that could potentially try to help himself inside the top 5 in overall points, but we'll find out very shortly. We'll find out as the days go by on where he ends up out of all of this. But so far, out of the top 5 of the championship, Lamb is leading Sandwith. So Lamb's going to be getting some good points next to his name there. With Crestdale down in 14th place, we could be seeing a position change in that top 2 in the fight for P2, and maybe potentially Sandwith gaining some more points over his competitors. So with Lamb in 3rd place, Crestdale in 2nd in the championship, Sandwith leading the way in this very tight championship as well. Aussie Taylor in 9th place, and we did see as well Burke who was 6th place in race 1 is down in 15th place, and there we go, a half second penalty there for Crestdale. Just days goes from bad to worse. Unfortunately, he will lose that 14th potentially to a Burke. So he's going to come through right now.
It'll be close. I don't think he's going to do it. It'll be very close.
Yeah, it just manages just to hold on ahead of the Nissan driver. So Crestdale in 14th place. So and like we said, the last time we've actually, I think it's actually, we haven't seen such the performance of Crestdale in TS2. Obviously, we know the caliber of drivers coming through, but as well with the caliber of drivers coming through, it's just obviously it's really rocked Crestdale, and obviously just maybe not finding confidence in himself and in his Lexus, where I think when we saw it in 2021, as if you remember from the old days, as we could say the old days, where we had the likes of Liam Tam. Oh, he's gone. Unfortunately there for Crestdale, just caught too much ripple on turn 5 from the exit of the S's there. And yeah, days just goes from bad to worse for car 23. The man that was leading the championship last time out at Watkins Glen down to P2 could definitely be losing a few more positions in this championship, potentially down to P3, even P4. But yeah, he's losing a little bit of confidence so far. Well, from where we saw in 2021 with the likes of Liam Tam and Viper Zed, Matt Simmons in Matt. We saw as well Cy Bishop in Cydog. We saw all those top name caliber drivers in TS2, and the man that was fighting against them was Crestdale. But this year so far, with all these brand new names coming through, he's just struggling a little bit.
Yeah, well, obviously we can't forget about the move that Crestdale did on Matt Simmons at Suzuka. That honestly there is one of my top tier moves in TS2 series. Not only just because of what track it was done, but who it was done on. So, Matt Simmons isn't an easy person to pass, and Crestdale made him look like an absolute rookie. I know he's associated with this racing, but that was a fantastic move, and how he stuck that where he did, it was fantastically done. There was enough room left, you know, they didn't run each other off the road, and yeah, it was just fantastic. But yeah, it did really shock Crestdale when, you know, Matt came in, Liam came in, Simon. I think we may have had Jono standing for 1 or 2 races. I can't exactly remember, but yeah, it's maybe he may also not like this track. That maybe
Yeah.
there are a lot of people I know that don't like this track, just purely because there's a couple of blind corners, and really some of the corners that you come through, like here, it drops off to the right, and then when we go through this double right-hander, it actually tightens up on the exit. So if you don't get the car set perfectly, so this one kind of rolls through, but then if you don't get the car set, it actually turns back on itself here. So if you try and get on the gas too early, you're in the set, you're in the grass and in the fence. So I've done that multiple times because I don't slow the car up enough. But yeah, probably not one race that Crestdale wants to be down in 15th and last place. And as I say that, he gets a little bit loose there, but he'll probably more than likely use this as a drop round. But yeah, I think back to the drawing board for Crestdale. Especially he's jumped into the 11.9s, but still 9/10 off Waters up in P1. But Halton sitting pretty comfy in P3. Curry up in P4. Stability, I was just about to say, looked a little bit better. In saying that, he just rubber banded through that last corner. So, but I'm very impressed here with Mario. Mario in race 2 here, sitting in P5, and if he stays here, he'll be eligible for main series, which is pretty valuable. But mate, the amount of main series eligible drivers that we've had come through the series in what will be the last 3 rounds is absolutely fantastic.
It's not just the last 3 rounds. It's just the whole TS2 series. From what I've seen, like throughout the whole TS2 Touring Cars Championship, we have seen so many eligible drivers, more than any that we've seen in Trackstars Racing Series history. That we've seen so many drivers getting themselves inside the top 5 and being main series eligible. So this is really opening up, you know, potential for the top 7 teams in the main series and the Trackstars Touring Cars Championship, where they will be duking it out for round 5 of the Atlanta Sprint in just over an hour's time. But these drivers coming through, putting their names forwards and saying, you know, I'm putting my hand up for an enduro drive, you know. Guys, like I said before, Lamb potentially looking for a drive in the enduros. Obviously, we know Holton will be probably potentially be backing himself up in the CP Motorsports camp, either alongside Jezza or Matt Campbell, but we're not so sure yet. So potential for drivers just putting their hands up and putting their names forward, and it's great to see, and we're excited to see TS2 drivers really pushing themselves to the absolute limit to get themselves into those positions. And for Mario's case, he's doing an absolute job, kept his nose clean, hasn't been involved in too many incidents, and he's inside that top 5 and comfortably inside that top 5.
Yeah, obviously we saw Aiden partnered with Jezza last year, alongside in that number 50 there for CP, and then we had Dan Wood as well. So they were definitely the team to beat last year, obviously with Speedy Tyres in Jackson Austin from Satellite Racing taking out their Touring Car Championship. He did a fantastic job, but we will see, hopefully, Speedy Tyres, Dan Wood, you know, the old likes of previous champions come back through the Enduros. So I'm very excited for the Enduros. I have heard that there are a couple of big names that may be entering for this year. So I think we'll wait and see, as we obviously know that nominations are starting to open up for that now, for the Enduros to get everyone settled in and settled, as we're only around the corner. You know, we're in round 5 of main series, and that would be round 9, 10, I think it is 9, 10, and 12. So it's definitely it's around the corner, and teams want to be starting to get ready for that. But yeah, the drivers that have just become available are absolutely phenomenal. We've got Waters here, and we've got Loxy. These drivers, chuck them in a main series car, and I'll definitely be pretty worried. So I think
absolutely, throw Black Flag Racing into the mix as being a main series team. Like if they bring these two drivers into the main series, and the boys at Black Flag have a great tuning team, they'll definitely want to keep an eye on. I mean, even especially with FR Racing, with their presence in TS2, making a name for themselves. DP Mario leading the way ahead of his teammate in Sandwith in 7th place. So throw even FR Racing into the mix. They could be potentially throwing their names in the hat for being a team in the touring cars field. We'll be able to see as the registrations and interest opens up in a couple of months' time. But two teams definitely that can throw their hats into that mix and really get themselves up towards the order. They're showing their crafts in TS2, but can they throw themselves into the deep waters, into the shark pit that is the main series of Formula Trackstars and Trackstars touring cars we'll see next year. But as we go through the grid for the final time, unfortunately for Crestdale, it has just gone from bad to worse from him in 15th and last place. We have Waters leading the way ahead of his teammate in Loxy. So a Black Flag Racing 1-2 with Holton getting himself back onto the podium positions, but is under pressure from Curry, who could potentially take that position away from him with only 1.5 laps to go. Mario in 5th place, trying to get himself main series eligibility, and with the first of the Lexus drivers in Lamb in 6th place. Sandwith, after a great recovery drive, starting in 13th up into P7 for the Honda driver, so great job for him. Green, after a disastrous lap 2 where he went from 2nd down to 4th place, has just gone from bad to worse for him. And we see Aussie Taylor and Mackenzie 9th and 10th place. Breeder from the other Dutchman from RoboSport Racing in 11th. Then we have Jahan, who's not having a great race this time. This is actually not the best performance that we've seen from Jahan from the car 347. Then we have Hall in FR Racing in 13th place under pressure from Burke in 14th, and then as we said, Crestdale down in 15th and last place. But we are on the final lap here, ladies and gentlemen, as we are coming through towards the last section of this track here. We can see Mitch Curry, a lot of tyre smoke come along his end there. What has happened to the man in car 43?
Looks like he may have smoked it up on the exit here at turn 6. Yeah, caught the grass there, got on the ass too early, spun it.
Oh no! He just managed to keep that car through a 360 there, but that's dropped him down the order. So down into 7th place, as we'll find out very shortly what happened, but it is Waters going from 2 to 2 and 3 in a row, 3 on the trot for car 222, takes victory in round 6 for the Atlanta Sprint. So congratulations to Black Flag Racing and him for his teammate for getting inside the top 2, making it a Black Flag Racing 1-2. We can see Holton back on the podium's positioning and Mario for FR Racing. Wow, what a great result for them. Going side by side for the last position inside the top 5. HBR holds onto it, just holds on to 5th place. The Lexus driver over Sandwith. Mitch Curry, after what we saw that last lap spin in 6th place. And as all the drivers start fielding through, we can see a couple of drivers making another few mistakes. We saw Breeder making a bit of a mistake as well on his end. Green is outside the top 10, so Green and Breeder on that last lap have really struggled, and Green's race 2, that's one to forget for car 232, and especially for this man as well in Crestdale, finishing in 15th and last place.
Yeah, that's not ideal where you want to see Crestdale down there, but just in saying that, my friend, it's not 3 on the trot, it's 4. He went 2 for 2 at Watkins, and now he's just gone 2 for 2 here. So yeah, that was he's definitely putting on a show at the moment for Black Flag, as you can see there, as you said, for a 1-2. Holton coming through in P3, back on the grid as we haven't seen him for a couple of rounds. So yeah, DP Mario, main series eligibility there with a P4. Good work, mate, on your first time out in Split 1. So, yeah, it's definitely Showing it's getting real spicy here.
It's
Lamb in
getting
P.
very spicy.
Lamb
Yeah.
in P5, Sand with P6, looks like he's copped the 1 second penalty there. Curry P7 with that late incident there coming through turn 5, 6 with the spin, going through 7 as well. Aussie Taylor coming through at 8th. Mackenzie in 9th, Jahan in 10th, Green in 11th, Hall in 12th, and then we've got Burke in 13th, Breeder in 14th, and Crestdale in 15th. Mate, there's some names I wouldn't really see down the bottom of the grid, but
No,
you know,
absolutely.
those times as well as you were saying in the first race, we got 11-2, 11-1, 11-5, 11-7, 11-9, 11 flat, 11-4, 11. Mate, these times are absolutely crazy. You've got 3 drivers outside the 11s there, but yeah, this is definitely interesting as we see some split 2 results come through. We had Purden come through with race 1 win with Kentwell and Van Vuren in 3rd. And then in race 2, we had Van Vuren take out the win with Severy in P2 and Purden in P3. So we do have a pretty big grid at the moment here for TS2. This is pretty crazy, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Well, it's great to see we have 22 drivers have registered their interest in round 6 for the Atlanta Sprint. So there's still, we're getting ourselves over 20 drivers for each week. It's absolutely amazing, and it's all thanks to these drivers here that has come in, put in the time, put in the effort to really show and put on a great show, especially what we've seen in Split 1 and even through Split 2 races. Been watching a few of the Split 2 drivers in those battle packs. It is very close and it is very strong and very competitive as well in Split 2. So watch out for a few names coming through there. They could put themselves into this top split lobby. So anything can happen here in Track Stars Racing Series, and we've seen so far the new name that has been on everyone's lips. It is Waters from Black Flag Racing, Car Triple Two, taking 4 wins on the trot. As Ryan has corrected me, 4 on the trot for Waters, and I don't know, like it's going to be hard to give out a driver of the day here. I mean, I do want to give it to Waters for that effort there. I was going to give it to Green if he was able to hold on to that top 3, but I'm just not too sure like who I can give it to. I mean, it's hard. There's a lot of potential names there for driver of the day. I just don't know who to give it to. Unfortunately, I'm just stumped.
For me personally, I can agree with you on this one. But I would have to give it to Mario. He obviously had a bit of an unfortunate race there, but he did recover somewhat. But then race 2, he come through and got a top 5. So mine's got to go to Mario. He's definitely put in the hard yards, and he's got to come through and pull the P4 there. So we'll wait and see what the results are, because mate, I reckon those results are going to be very interesting when they come out. So having drivers, up in one race and then down in another one, and then down in one and up in the other, it's definitely going to be quite the interesting results here. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Waters with that 4 on the trot. You can't stop him at the moment. He's the new Curry from Formulas. He's the current Ridwan. Mate, this is crazy with these drivers. And it's just ridiculous at the moment. But no, that was fun.
No, that was very good fun there. So yeah, that's a good shout there for Mario, but I will just have to give it to Waters there. 4 on the trot, no one can stop him. Just needs to work on his race starts though. He got it right in that second race, but I'm just unfortunate. But with that send around the outside by Curry, that was absolutely incredible there. So just maybe needs a little bit more work to get his race starts and probably try and get through clean 1 without losing the lead. I think once he gets that sorted, then the rest of the race you're not going to see him. So that'll be a race over for you if Waters goes through turns 1 and turns 2. Next time out in 2 weeks' time, as we go through to a Laguna Seacar, we're still on the American leg for the TS2 touring cars. We'll find out who can take the overall victory in TS2. We'd like to send out a big thanks to Ryan Palmer for bringing out the stream and being at this, and the commentator joining us here in the Trackstars TS2 touring cars for round 6 for the Atlanta Sprint. Big congratulations to the man in Waters, Car Triple Two, taking the overall victory, and 4 on the trot there. Big points next to his name, the full 300 next to his name. Next up, it is the main series. It is Trackstars touring cars racing for round 5 for the Atlanta Sprint. 32 laps for 2 races. Who will come out on top? Who will be the man with the biggest, what we could say in Spanish, cojones? Who can come through to turn 1 and turn 2 with a big set of balls and really take the challenge to Ridwan's titles chances? We'll find out in less than an hour. But on behalf of myself and Ryan Palmer, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks' time, or in 1 week's time, for the Daytona TS3 touring cars. But for now, for TS2,